Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to answer one of my most asked questions about being an illustrator, and this is a question that I get on YouTube and on Instagram, and I actually just put a call out on Instagram wondering if anyone had any questions about illustration jobs. I seem to have about 20 questions asking me how clients find me or how I find clients. So I thought I would answer that today. Before I get into it, I just wanted to stress that this is just my own personal experience, and I'm just one illustrator working in quite a niche little field of watercolour, so my answer might not be the same experience that you have. Let's get into it. When I first started getting illustration jobs, it only happened for me after I had a website that was pretty substantial. It had lots of different areas of work that I specialised in, so food illustration, portraiture, animals, landscapes, objects, really showing the full breadth of my skills as a watercolour artist. So it was only when I had a website which had a substantial amount of work on it, and I was also using social media like Twitter and Instagram, and no, I hadn't quite started YouTube yet. Also using portfolio sites like Behance and a blog as well, that was really important. So I was spreading myself around on the internet, spreading my work around on the internet, and my first few clients came in. At that stage, I was also contacting clients via email. I didn't have much success with that, as you can expect, because art directors get an enormous amount of emails every single day from people looking for work. You have to be quite lucky to get your email looked at the right time by the right person for them to then take action off that email, whether that be saving your work to file for future projects or getting back to you straight away, which is pretty rare, I would say. My main piece of advice if you want to start finding clients is to really work on your portfolio, because that is the most important thing. Really take a good look at your portfolio as it stands, and I'm talking, when I say portfolio, I mean your website, because I think having physical portfolios isn't so important these days. I've never once in my 5 years of being a full-time illustrator had to show physical work to any clients. The only time I showed physical work to someone was when I was looking into getting an illustration agent, which is a story for another time probably. In terms of clients, they very rarely, if ever, want to see a physical portfolio. That is just my experience. I'm sure other people will tell you otherwise. Look at your website and really try and think about where there might be some gaps in your work, some areas that you really need to build on, so that you can be ticking as many boxes as possible within your field. So for me, I wanted to be predominantly an editorial illustrator, because I know that's where a lot of the work comes in. I was really interested in food illustration, so that was my first port of call. I made sure I had some really good pieces of food illustration in my portfolio. Most of the work that was in my portfolio when I started getting clients was work that I produced after university. So university was a really great place for me to develop my style, but then after university I really looked at my portfolio properly and set myself the task of bulking out as much as possible and making sure that I had really high quality work that clients would be interested in. One of my biggest tips is to produce the work that you want to be hired for. So I wanted to get into editorial illustration. I wanted to get hired for food illustration jobs, so that was the area that I focused on. I set myself some illustration briefs and I worked to them and put them out there on the internet. I put them on my blog, I put them on my website, and I put them on Behance and maybe a couple of other portfolio websites. And I was also using social media at this time, just starting out with it. As well as food illustration, I was also working on portraiture and animals, so I'd say those are my 3 areas of expertise. So I was painting as much as possible and adding that to my website and my blog. I think it's also really important to have a grasp on SEO to understand how your images will appear in search results. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm an expert on it, because I'm really not at all. I know the very basics on how to make sure you're using keywords that you want people to find you with. So I want clients to find me who are looking for watercolour illustrators, food illustrators, portrait illustrators, wildlife. So I make sure I include words like that in the titles of my website pages and my blog posts and any hashtags on social media. I also hired someone when I first set up my website to make sure in the background SEO was running properly, so that might be something to look into. The reason I'm focusing so much on having a portfolio and making sure your website is really strong is because the times that I've asked my clients how they've come across me, or if they've told me without me asking, it's always been through these top 3 places. The first one is Google, so people are searching for things like watercolour illustrator, watercolour food, and my illustrations are coming up in their searches, and then through that they find my website. Or they use Pinterest, which is a really great place for finding images, so I'm really happy that they're able to find my work through that website. Lastly, this isn't a very common one, but I've had a few people say that they found me through Twitter. I'm quite active on Twitter, not in the most professional way all the time, but I do share a lot of my work on there as well. People will very kindly retweet my work or share it, and clients can find me that way. A few other less common ways would be through friends, especially when I was starting out. I had my university friends who got into graphic design, and then they would put my work forward for illustration jobs, which was obviously very, very helpful when you're first starting out. I got a job with Topshop through a friend and a few other things as well. That really helped me get the ball rolling with client work. I often get people ask whether I contact clients myself or how I contact potential clients, and I will say that I don't put much faith in this method. Personally, for me, it hasn't worked out that well. I think it takes a lot of luck for this method to work, because like I said, you have to get your work seen by the right person. They have to actually open your email or open your post if you want to send a promotional postcard or something. It has to be seen by the right person, and then they have to take the right action there, whether they put your work on file, whether they put your postcard up on their desk, whether they by some chance have the right project in front of them that they can hire you for. It just depends a lot on timing and luck. My preferred method, because I just think that emails a lot of the time are lost, is to make sure that you're available on the internet when people are searching for your particular style of work. If you have followed my work for a while, you will have seen that I made these postcards. I'll show you one. These were the last promotional materials that I had made, and I sent these to about 100 potential clients, 100 different businesses. On the back it just says a bit about me and how to contact me and about my work, and I love how these postcards look. I think they're lovely. I'm really glad that I was proactive and I made these and I've sent these out, but I haven't had any work from them, and that could change. Someone could have these on their desk and they could be waiting for the right project to contact me. I had a few people contact me asking about my rates, but nothing has materialised out of that. That just gives you an idea of how unlikely it is when you are sending out things to different businesses and clients that anything will come of it. I don't mean to discourage you completely, because it could lead to something really good for you. It could lead to connections. It's always worth a try, but I really do think the main focus should be on your portfolio and sharing that portfolio with the world, making sure it's available for people that are searching for your type of illustration, your type of artwork. Yeah. So that is my experience with how clients find me, or how I find clients. It's through Google, Pinterest, social media, just being really available on the internet for people to find my work. If you would like me to make a more in-depth video about portfolios and websites, then I would love to do that. So let me know if you have any specific questions or queries around that subject. I'd be happy to make another video about portfolios. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and if you're new, please subscribe because I make weekly videos about being an illustrator, and follow me on other social media as well. Most of the time I'm on Instagram or Twitter. I'll see you again very soon for another video. Bye!